Hello.
Hey, welcome to Lobster and Friends. I'm here with my buddy Goro Gregoro.
Yep, that's Lobster.
Yep, and we are here to talk about our favorite anime this season, which
The good
is not
one.
is not really saying that much because, there's like 60 shows and we don't like watch many of them. Usually, it's just like the thing that's like based on a manga that we've heard about. So we cannot exactly say that we're like the authoritative source on all the animes that are airing, since there's a lot of fucking animes.
Yeah,
There's a lot of
including the
animes.
bird screeching anime, which is in the background. You could tell it's a bad one.
So let's talk about episode 3 of Inuyashiki. What do you think of our favorite superhero, old man super? Let me close the door.
Oh yeah, turn off that anime. The bird screech anime.
So what do you think of this week's episode of Inuyashiki?
Uh, this anime is pretty good. I'm really happy with the pacing of the series in general, and like even though I think there was a little bit of filler with like the old guy fighting against
The Yakuza guy.
the Yakuza guys or whatever, like the tough gangster types.
Yeah, there was a little bit of me annoyed because I was enjoying the brisk pacing. I mean, as filler goes, that wasn't like the worst filler you could ever have. It was fun to see him like use his old man fighting things, and then when it connects, he like breaks their bones, which was really amusing to see.
Yeah,
Although
the best fighting techniques ever. Like,
yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm curious if anyone's ever tried to fight like that before ever.
I don't think it works well unless had your innards replaced by trans-dimensional aliens. But it's definitely very amusing to watch, and it's great to actually like be able to. Although my only fear is that, like, considering like one of my favorite things in the manga is like the whole Yakuza storyline, I feel like, oh man, you're going too early. Don't waste the Yakuza. Build them up for like the big moment when the big scary guy comes.
Yeah. They didn't feel like Yakuza to me. They felt like just a bunch of like big tough guys. Like
I
honestly,
don't know. I thought they were supposed to be Yakuza. They had like tattoos. They had like they
yeah,
had the Japanese punks.
yeah, tattoos, but they looked like punk asses. More or less. They didn't look like, you know, they didn't dress like any like fancy Yakuza clothes or anything like
Well,
that.
they could have been just like underlings, like because like when they introduced the big guy, he's got like a bunch of underlings who look very similar to them. Like, I didn't double check to see if those were supposed to be the same characters.
I
But
thought Yakuza is supposed to dress up a little bit nice. Like they have the collared shirts and everything, the suit
well, the
jackets.
high level Yakuza are supposed to like dress up like businessmen, and they're supposed to have like all these like ceremonial like Japanese culture and samurai tattoos with lots of cherry blossoms and something. I remember reading somewhere that like those tattoos are like banned in bathhouses to like ban and discourage Yakuza.
Hmm.
But then like the underlings can be more like punky, because they're the low guys. They wanna get up. They wanna rise up the chain.
Maybe I don't know that much about Yakuza, the Yakuza culture.
Well, I can't say I know much either. I'm not an expert. Although I would love to see like a Yakuza versus Tony Soprano anime. Make that happen.
A Yakuza version of like the Tony Soprano
No, no, no.
show.
I
I
actually
mean,
want the Yakuza to fight the Sopranos in anime form.
that'd be hilarious.
That would be amazing. But anyway, so as filler goes, as we'll talk about later, it was surprisingly tolerable, even if it is kind of like a little bit of cliched, like, "Hey, we're gonna kill you." The novelty of having the old man, be the superhero, and his terrible fighting style of old man jujitsu was entertaining.
Yeah. So there was the positive aspects of like, the old man saving the kid. I mean, saving the dad from the fire, the kid's dad from the fire, like him learning like how to first use his jetpack, everything, and then we have as opposed to that we have the darker side, the the darkest side of this show, which is
that was another minor complaint I had. I don't know. I thought the jetpack learning scene was played a little too comically. I was kind of like hoping it would be a little bit more, not super serious, but sort of like, oh, I need to learn so I can save these people from the fire. It's so desperate, as opposed to like, oh, he's learning his jetpack power. It's just like Spider-Man flinging himself into the wall. Kooky hilariousness.
You didn't like that? I don't know. I thought that was kind of amusing.
I would have thought I was kind of hoping it would be played a little bit more straight, like, a little bit more desperate. It's like, he's got to learn how this works.
But it was desperate at first, while he's like trying to figure out how to open his back in the first place. Like, come on, just open your back.
Yeah, but then they had like kind of funny music, and it was like played for like a little bit goofier versus like a little bit more awe and wonder.
But it's a goofy scene. It's like kind of a goofy scene where he's just like, I don't know how to use this stupid jetpack thing.
It's a little bit of wonder and triumph. Like, this is like the element of like Superman coming in to pick up Lois Lane in the first movie. The idea that like, he's embracing the supernatural. He's embracing the science fiction. And then he's having this wonderful character moment of realization as he sees what he can do.
I don't think this can be played out like a traditional superhero kind of story of like, discovering his powers and
it's got a lot
feeling a sense of
story beats of like many superheroes, and it's very much a very Japanese superhero story.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It's even called Inuyashiki, the last hero.
Is that what that means? No.
No. Inuyashiki is like just his name, but like
right.
The subtitle of the anime is the last hero.
Right. Yeah. The last hero part of it. Yeah, I remember that. Okay. By the way, I hear a little bit of an echo from.
Really? I've got my my volume turned off.
Okay. Well, anyway, what was I saying? So, yeah, I think
you were.
He doesn't feel like a
weren't deal breakers for me, but they were just like kind of like mild annoyances. But
yeah,
let's talk about the dark side. What do you think of the good old the scenes we got of Shishigami?
Those are really strong scenes. Like him confronting like his best friend's bullies. Like that was really well played scene. And then like I completely forgot like he shoots them like at the end.
Yeah, he just sort of like looks at them and then bang, 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 and then the poor guy Ando who's like, "We can't be friends anymore."
Yeah, that I said so before, but like that kid is like so brave. He's like amazingly brave to like actually try and stand up to like the robot killer kid, like code sociopath robot killer kid who
after he says that like he can like send a nuke to China from America just for shits and giggles.
Yeah, sends a nuke to China or steal as much money as he wants, and the U.S. Army can't even take him down. Just like how can you possibly like think to just right off the bat say no to someone like that?
Yeah, I guess you could say in a more drawn out manga or anime they would have like several episodes of him just like sort of hiding and like trying to like placate him, as opposed to like saying that like we can't be friends anymore or what you're doing is wrong.
Yeah.
So it was nice that they hit that critical threshold, and he has the balls of steel. And what does Shishigami do right after? This was probably my favorite scene of the episode. I love him like we didn't need to see the violence anymore. Like once you've established that, like we know his modus operandi. So you just hear the backgrounds of like the dog barking and the people talking, and he just goes and bang, and then you don't hear the noise anymore.
Yeah, it's really a brilliant scene. I think his bong thing is like. I really like it. It's very iconic. Like, it's like childish, and yet like very, like threatening. Like it's very horrifying, kind of like iconic little quirk that he has when he does that.
Yeah, and now like we know the full horror of it, so we know the implications of bang, bang, bang. It's not like he's gonna miss. And first, like, even Ando's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And then he looks through. He's like, "Oh my God, you actually shot them." He's like, "It doesn't matter. There's no gunpowder. Nobody can detect it. I'm completely immune. Nobody can do anything. And even if they tried to, they can't stop me."
Yeah. God, you think about it, like, what, like, if he's always had that kind of personality, like, he probably would have ended up being like a school shooter or something like that.
Yeah, that's one little minor quibble is that, like, I wish we saw a little bit more of him before, to see how he like went completely sociopath, or if it was always in this, if he like had these urges, or if it just
it just manifested because he became a robot.
Yeah,
that's the question I've been wondering myself, actually.
Is if it's just sort of like, oh, I've got superpowers, I'm just gonna do whatever the hell I want.
Yeah, maybe there is something that changes when they become robots in terms of their personality. Like, the old guy is like, he's kind of doing an opposite kind of thing in a way.
Well,
he's
yeah,
like,
they do a great job of like contrasting them. It's like, I could heal cancer, but I'm just gonna heal your paper cut. While he's like healing cats, and then he goes, and then the last scene is him going to like a hospital ward. And he's like, oh, I could do all these things. I'm gonna become Jesus Kun.
Jesus Kun. Yeah. So yeah, I guess the old guy, in a sense, he's going out of his way to be like, helpful in society. Like, beforehand, he was just kind of like mostly to himself. He wasn't really like trying to be like that.
He was just keeping his head down, man. He's just trying to like keep the house over his ungrateful children and his ugly wife who doesn't think much of him, and just keep going on. But now his better nature, as opposed to being spiteful and being cool, he just likes to help people, which is very nice. That, like, within the heart of every 50 some odd underput man lies the heart of a hero if he was only just given divine powers.
Yeah, it's very. He became very. Is the word I'm looking for altruistic?
Yeah, I think so. Altruistic fits it. Oh, it's funny though. I almost wonder if the like Gantz guy is like trying to make some sort of political statement that, like, I think he mostly just did it because it's like fun to have like a old man superhero. But you almost wonder if there's like this commentary in that, like, the older generation of Japan is innately more heroic than the younger social media Gantz obsessed current generation. They're all awful. They're the worst. They become the worst things if they could have all the power. But in the older mind of the older people who have more dignity and responsibility, that's when power is used properly.
That's an interesting analysis. I'm kind of curious if there's like any more examples of like, has there been any like really major examples of like really evil old people in like Gantz or Inuyashiki?
Well,
it feels like they're mostly good.
They have that old guy in Gantz who's like kind of like 50 years old.
Yeah, but he's like a model citizen. He's like awesome.
He's like a model. He was great. That was one thing I loved about Gantz, is that, like, they set up the modus operandi that like everyone dies so easily, so that once you actually do have like the more invested like Gantz team, it feels like so earned and so much cooler, and they're all kind of like lame.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was really great about Gantz, guys. You always kind of like half expected to like, oh, this guy's cool, but he's probably gonna die next episode or something like that.
Yeah, he's gonna die horribly, and then like when he sets up like the core team after like it was funny though. I guess you could say Shishigami is like Inazuma, was that his name? The really cool guy who like loved Gantz so much he wanted to get back in even.
Yes, I think Inazuma.
Yeah, exactly. And then in the most racially insensitive thing, he like wears blackface so he can murder a bunch of people.
Oh, man, that was like so fucked up. He like goes on like some kind of shooting spree, like wears a whole bunch of like, I don't know. That wasn't even just blackface. That was just like some kind of facial surgery. Like,
nah, he had like
a completely different face.
It wasn't like he like shaved his head. He had like a bald cap on. He had like makeup. So he wasn't like, I mean, he was like dressed up as a black guy, but he wasn't like traditional like minstrel show blackface, but it was still kind of like really like insensitive and really messed up in so many ways.
Yeah.
And although it's interesting, though, you could almost say that like Shishigami and Inazuma are kind of very similar. Although Shishigami isn't so far being made to look like, oh, he's the coolest, hottest guy and everyone loves him, versus like Inazuma, who was like, oh, he's the coolest guy.
I think it's Izumi, not Inazuma.
You might be right, Izumi. Izumi was a fun character.
I don't think
messed up.
I don't think they really compare that much. Like Izumi, he was on like a mission to like get inside the Gantz game and fight for whatever.
You could say that like his methods were evil, but he just wanted to kill aliens. And after he gets in the Gantz ball again, he's just sort of like kind of okay with it. He doesn't really do anything evil after that.
Yeah, essentially, like he's not necessarily like killing off teammates. He's like trying to recruit. He's trying to recruit new teammates. While this guy...
He does, like, create the most stable Gantz team ever. He's got the old guy, he's got Muscle Rider, he's got the psychics, he's got all, this whole crew of, like, people who actually, like, last a decent amount of time, and then they kind of, like, form, like, a bigger, cohesive unit.
Yeah, that's true. It was a really good unit.
Which was nice to see after like every unit of everyone just like kind of like dying, and then you just sort of like, and then when you actually get a good unit, it's like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever. It was a fun way to play with expectations, but it's interesting to compare that to like Inuyashiki with like Shishigami, who I guess is not even altruistic. He doesn't even want to be he just wants to like go murder people because he can, because nobody can stop him. He's like a little. It's like a super powered toddler who's just kind of like pushing to see how far he can take things, and who has and unfortunately no one can stop the toddler.
Yeah, which is terrifying. A terrifying idea for a villain.
And it's like not even like he's trying to like hide. He just sort of like walks in and is like, nah, I don't care.
Yeah, and if they find it, if he is caught, like they can't really catch him per se. Like he's a fucking like killer machine robot. You can't arrest that. He's gonna go to war with like the police and the rest of Japan. But like for now, he's like on the lay low, I suppose. Doesn't want to. I guess he is sort of concerned about attracting too much attention. Otherwise, like he'd be killing kids like in public, like in school, left and right. While he's in school, instead of like crushing his arm like very subtly, he didn't like outright rip his arm off or anything like that. But he killed him like outside of school, like sort of like from a sniper kind of point of view. But he's going from like home to home, but he's doing it like a little bit. I think he's doing it a little bit on low.
A little bit more low key. He's like Jessica Jones. He's not hiding, but he's not advertising yet.
How do you compare that to Jessica Jones?
Because Jessica Jones says that like about her powers that she's not like advertising, but she's not hiding. She's hiding, but she's not hiding, but she's not advertising either. Like she doesn't hide. She doesn't hide the fact that she has superpowers, but she's not going around like, oh, I'm a superpowered person with super strength.
Right, okay.
So Shishigami is not hiding the fact that he's like a killer robot, but he's also not advertising, hey, I'm a murderous robot who's going to go around killing people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
All right, so we should give this good old wrap up. What would you give this episode?
It was a good 8.5 episode. I think it was a strong continuation from last episode.
Definitely. I'm not going to be quite as kind as you. I'm going to give it an 8. But it was still a good episode. I really enjoyed it, despite my little quibbles about like the filler. And not that it was like that annoying, but like I don't know. Unless you have like something brilliant like I hate filler, but I guess that was like as good filler as you could ask for. We're gonna get into a big old discussion about filler in a minute in our next video. But I thought that the whatchamacallit, I was annoyed that the flying scene was played a little bit more for laughs, but yeah, it was a good one. Another fun, exciting episode of Inuyashiki. I'm just glad to see things are moving along, and who knows, maybe we'll get our awesome 12 episode that covers everything.
I think it's even better right now, animated right now, than it was in manga form.
You think so?
I'm having a lot more fun watching the show animated than in manga.
Well, it is always great to see things animated. There's some really effective things that in the manga. Well, it's a lot less tedious to read because, like, the Gantz guy stuff, like, his 19 pages, like, especially because he likes to do action sequences, are like the most tedious thing in the world to read.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, cool panel, double panel spread. Oh, chapter's over.
Yeah, I guess so. All right. Do we advertise anything anymore?
Not for now. Like I said, I need to call to see if I can even do advertising because, like, on Amazon you need to like have the site registered, and technically, since this is another YouTube channel, it might count as a new URL or whatnot, and I need to call to see if it's possible. Who knows though? Maybe I'll send an email over to Crunchyroll and ask about getting one of their affiliates, and then I can maybe use that in both. So for now, no shilling. But we will shill, in the future.
All right.
Shill will return.
If we were to shill, I think we need like a fireman kind of theme thing.
I love it that like I've ingrained you so much that you like to think about products to shill. Like the Amazon has become a game for you. You seem kind of disappointed when I bring up like, sorry, Greg, no shilling for this one.
Yeah, just think how creatively you can show is fun. All right,
guys. So thank you for listening to our thoughts on Inuyashiki, the Last Hero. And remember, lobster antennas, but don't you grab it.